in the current environment very challenging. We don't primarily work a lot with people who are sick. So unlike what people imagining that doctors are all very busy at the moment, it's actually the other way around, because a lot of the non-emergency services have been shut down for both public and private facilities. So we run an office at Arcade, which is also a clinic where we do management of diabetes and hypertension as part of that service. My interest, Chris, is to learn how to reach our customers and maybe also take opportunity to add value to that service. In Nairobi, crossing to come and see us physically can also be quite a challenge because of commuting. So maybe this is a time to discover how we can all achieve the same objectives, but in a much easier way.
Okay, thank you very much, Daktari. Thank you. Okay, we have 2 more minutes of engagement. So if I do see a hand, I'll allow them to talk, but let me scroll down here. Let me invite Olivia Otieno. I can see 2 attendees, Ankiza. Okay, so Ankiza, please speak to us. Tell us where you're listening to us from.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ankiza. I'm listening to you all in Nairobi. I'm currently on lockdown. So my company is called Inuka Wellness. We are a digital mental health service and application. I have to say, because of the nature of my company, we already are very much digital and online. We work closely with corporate clients to offer their employees support through one-on-one online coaching. So COVID-19 has somewhat challenged us to scale much faster than we thought we would, because a lot of companies right now are having to adjust to remote working conditions. Employees are dealing with a lot of stress. So we're really helping them build resilience within their workforce right now. So it's brought challenges for us in terms of scaling, and also making sure we're still able to connect with corporates and educate them also about using our services online now. So that's a bit about me.
All right, thank you very much, Ankiza. I can see a few more hands have gone up, so I'm going to invite Joyce and Abraham to speak, but very briefly, 30 seconds each, because I'd like to get into the next part of the presentations. So Joyce, speak to us, and then quickly followed by Abraham.
Thank you. So my name is Joyce Gikunju, and I run Bounce Back Academy in the same building as Sandbox. And the reason why I've actually joined today is because I have heard about your partnerships, and I would like to partner with Sandbox.
Sandbox, yes. SNDBX.
Sandbox, yes, because I know you have a non-compete formula. I like the idea that you have a non-compete formula, because I want to be the go-to stage confidence coach for Sandbox. The reason why I'm joining in today, obviously, is to network some more, because very few people know that we exist, and actually very few people know about even the building CMS Plaza until now. So I'm happy about the Sandbox formula. It's a great formula, and I would like to partner with you and become the go-to coach for stage confidence, also known as public speaking. In this COVID era, what we've done is that since we can't do live training, we have our online classes, which are hosted by zidi.com. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Joyce. Glad that you could join us. Let's take that conversation on the sidebar, and we can talk about how to onboard you as a partner. Let me invite Abraham to speak with us and tell us where he's joining us from and what his expectations are. Abraham.
Thank you so much. Hello, this is Abraham Kemei, the head of business development, Blue Wave Insurance. We are an insurtech with a global vision to really redefine insurance experience and impact to push the percentage actually to a more higher level. So I must appreciate the fact that thank you for really bringing up this initiative, at least for us to really virtual network and see what we are going to actually reap for our business as we really going through a sad time business are really performing quite poorly. So my main thing, and what I would really like to get and to take home from here is we are very open in terms of getting all the potential partners at least to really push the insurance in terms of health. We know it's actually a pressing time, the risks that are actually associated. So we really very much open for clients and for partners to really come up for the same. So I'll be looking forward for progressive discussions after this, and much more on the developments on automation, and as far as the future is concerned. So let's drive the entire value chain for the consumers, and at least see that we actually are giving some sense and for business sustainability. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Abraham. And right now, I'd like to move into the meat of the matter, and I'm going to play for us a short video that introduces who the Sandbox is and what we are all about. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm also going to be telling you about the participants who we have here for you. So the video is playing now.
Hello, my name is Naliaka. I run a real estate business, but things aren't going so well. I'm getting tired of searching for the right answers online. Looking for the right help from one office to the other is very hectic.
Look no further. We have the most convenient solution for you. Introducing Sandbox, the village formula. A one-stop shop for SMEs and entrepreneurs, whether you're running your business from home, in retail, medicine, or manufacturing. We'll take your business to the next level.
All right, thank you very much for listening to that message from our sponsors, the Sandbox. Today we are here to talk about building your sales resilience. And for this, we're looking at actionable insights that can help you to successfully navigate COVID-19. It's part of a series of webinars that we'll be having throughout the month of April and May. Every single Friday between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m., we'll be having this webinar. So this week is sales, branding, and public relations. Next week, we are going to be looking at how to assess the health risks that your staff members may be having during this particular time. That webinar for next week is going to be presented by Dr. Dennis Nturibi, who spoke earlier today. Today, we are glad to be here. And what we are asking you is, tell us a little bit about what kind of support would you like to be able to get from the Sandbox at this particular time. I'd like you to chat, send us that on the chat. Just tell us what would you have the Sandbox do for you? We don't want to spend too much time talking about what we can do for you. We'd like to hear your feedback in terms of just how can the Sandbox engage? What kind of support can we provide for you during this particular period of time? Our presenters are going to be Nyagu Gakonde, who's going to talk to us about branding. Mary Gitari is going to talk to us about PR, and Sam Karaoke is going to talk to us about sales. I'm going to invite them to give opening remarks, just one line each to start with. Let me start off by inviting Nyagu Gakonde to give us one line opening remarks. Nyagu. Okay, as Nyagu prepares his one-line opening remarks, Sam, can you give us your opening remarks?
Yeah, welcome everyone. We are excited to be here with you. We are looking forward to having a conversation about how you can do your sales around this time. What is your response?
All right, Mary, give us one-line opening remarks.
Hi guys, Thanks so much for joining us, and we're really excited to have you. We couldn't have it any other way, so karibuni and prepare to learn something new.
Nyagu, are you ready to give us your one-line opening remark? All right, as they say in the studio, we'll find out what's preventing Nyagu from speaking. But for now, let me unshare my screen and invite Sam Karaoke, who is going to be our first presenter for the day, to be able to talk to us and take us through sales resilience. As I said, please put your questions and answers on the Q&A tab so that we can be able to respond to them there. And on the chat, please tell us how you'd like to engage with the sandbox. What can we do for you at this particular point in time? I can see that Sam has put his screen ready for presentation mode. Sam, over to you. Take us through your presentation.
Thank you very much, Chris, for this afternoon that we are having. I know it's not the best for all the businesses to be meeting at this time, but all the same, we are grateful even for taking the opportunity that we have given the time that we are living in. And I'll be talking about sales and how we can be resilient and respond appropriately in terms of sales around this time. I think for most businesses, sales have been hit most. And when people are saying sales, business is not doing well, in many cases, they are talking about sales. Of course, there are other aspects of business that have been affected, but our customers are not buying, orders have been canceled, others have been suspended, and all that. That's what people are talking about when they're talking about sales. A little about Sam. I am a sales strategist, I'm a sales trainer, I'm a sales recruiter, and I have been helping businesses deal with issues to do with sales. We actually I went into this line of work of helping businesses in sales at the height of post-election violence in the year 2008. And I came in when businesses were doing very poorly because of the impact of the chaos that were going on there. So this is, of course, at a higher level than then, but still it's a time of crisis. I am an author of the book some of you might have come across, The Guy Who Fired His Boss. And we offer our services in many ways. As you can see, some of the things that you can see there are the tools that we use or have been using in this work. As growth partners, we address and help businesses deal with the issues of sales holistically. Some people come to us looking for sales training, others come to us looking for recruitment services, others come to us to assist them address challenges to do with low conversion rates or struggling to get new customers or having salespeople who are not performing. But essentially, when we look at business, what I'm displaying on the screen, those are some of the things that we look at when it comes to sales struggling. Going from down, just like if you were to put up a house, you start with a foundation. Businesses struggle in not having a plan or a strategy for their sales. So we help businesses in that as growth partners. We help businesses set up organizations that will bring to life the strategies and the plan they have, as well as helping them develop an approach or a process of doing sales such that sales is done in a systematic way, not haphazardly, as many business do, whereby you have people and you hope everyone will do sales the best way they know how. We help businesses set up management structures for their sales, and we also recruit, help businesses identify and recruit highly driven salespeople who are right for their businesses. We train and help businesses also, apart from training, come up with coaching approaches that would help businesses develop the competencies of their people. We help businesses also identify the right tools for sales automation, as well as making sure that whatever sales automation tool you have taken, whether it's customer relationship management solution or a sales management system, to ensure that you're getting the very best out of it. So in Growth Partners, that's what we do, and we have been doing this here for years, and we have many happy customers. But today we are talking about the Corona COVID-19 impact on sales. And I don't want to dwell so much on this, but we have seen human relations have been disrupted, and sales is highly built around human beings. Anyway, animals don't buy. Even it's human beings who buy. Organizations don't buy, it's human beings who buy. People buy, organization may provide the resources. And when human relations are disrupted, or the way of living and life and how they conduct their affairs, businesses are affected. So sales have been affected in that human beings and the way of life of human beings have been highly disrupted. Customers are not where they are supposed to be. They are not moving where they are supposed to be moving. So definitely that has impacted sales in a big way, both customers who are buying and even people who are conducting business, whether salespeople or those ones who are satisfying orders or the needs of the customers. Sales in many cases entails a lot of movement. It entails a lot of interactions. And one of the things that has been there in sales always has been the handshake has always been considered a powerful way of saying we have rapport or we have a deal. Unfortunately, all those things are considered very dangerous this time, and therefore sales activities, almost every aspect of sales activity that entails movement, meeting people, touching, is considered dangerous. So definitely sales has been impacted in that way. So we don't have many presentations happening. We don't have demonstrations of products happening because of what is going on. Pipelines have been frozen. You might have been expecting an order to come through, but the customer has said, wait. You might have identified someone and you're almost making the presentation to them so that you can go to the next stage in your pipeline. That has been frozen. And many people don't know what is happening or what is going to happen next based on the conversations they had with clients and prospects prior to this crisis. People who have long distribution channels, they have been disrupted. Your distributors have been disrupted. Your wholesalers have been, their business have been affected, and therefore sales is not, have been hurt in a big way. Customers have changed. The motivation that they had probably just prior to this, the motivation was looking forward on how they are going to make their business great, how they are going to excel, how they are going to expand their business, and all that. Unfortunately, based on this, probably that has changed. And for many people are thinking survival is the biggest motivator. And sales being highly psychological, when the psychology of buyers is affected, definitely many things around sales are affected. And consequently, sales have gone down. I've seen a few businesses that are, and we have seen a few that have had a windfall based on that what they are their business, the products they were offering, or the channels they were using have become valuable now. But those are few. I have a few clients whom I have been working with who have enjoyed this windfall. Unfortunately, that happens to one line of their business, but much of whatever else they do has gone down. Some have a lot of demand for their products, but they are finding themselves overwhelmed by the challenges they have to deal with in their supply chain to be able to fulfill those orders. And those are the challenges that are there. So if those are the challenges, what would be our response? I will be talking about response in two ways. I'll be talking of response during this crisis, and I will be talking about how do we respond post this crisis. So response during this crisis, I will talk about it in three areas of response. One is around our customers. Two is about our pipelines, and then I'll be talking about our people, the people that we have in our sales. So let's start by talking of what do you do at this time when we are talking about this chaos. Everyone seems to have gone home. You have gone home, your customers have gone home. But this is the time that you would want to maintain any customer that you have had. You'd want to ensure that you don't lose them. When business resumes, because it will definitely resume, you'd want still to have them. Whatever much they will be buying there, you'd want to be the ones supplying or servicing them. But you'd really want to ensure that you don't lose your customers. If there's anything that you'd want to do right now is to be very close to the customers that you have had even prior to this. The other thing that you need to do is to maximize any value that you can get from the customers that you have currently. You should not be missing out on any order at this point, whether it's getting it from them or it is about servicing any of the orders that you have. There are many challenges, there are many difficulties, but this is the time probably you may require to go out of your way to ensure that you're giving the very best service to your customers. I've said you keep servicing them if you can, because for certain reasons, you might not be able. Either you may not be able to you may not be able to service them because of the nature of your service, or two, you may struggle because probably you need some resources from them financially for you to service them. If that is not possible, maybe you may struggle. But try to do anything that you can do to maintain and maximize value from your customers. The other thing you can do around your customers is evaluate each of your customers individually, if you can. If you have thousands, probably it's hard to go through them individually, but you can go through them in terms of segments, sectors, or groupings of customers. But you would want to go through each of your customers and ask, for these customers of mine, what has changed in their needs? Do they have new needs? Or do the needs that they have always had, have they been changed, or are they different from the way they were in terms of what it is that is required to meet those needs? Those needs present new opportunities for you, or they may present great threats to you. So you need to evaluate each of your customers and ask yourself whether their needs that have changed. You'd want to ask yourself, based on those needs and the changes that have happened, do I have Do I have the capabilities to match those needs, to serve those needs, the new needs? Or do I have to borrow or to acquire certain other capabilities, even at this time, to match those needs? At this time, the most important thing is to remember that our most valuable asset is our customer. And that customer, you can go back to them and see how you can maximize value from them. But finally, for your customers, you need to think on how you can invest in their emotional bank account. This means that you need to do some, there may be major or small things that you are not necessarily going to charge them for or ask money from them for them, but you would want to be in touch or rather to invest in this emotional bank account. When the business goes back into operational, they will remember you. So think of the things that you can do in that regard.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. I'm going to ask you to pause there, and I'm going to find out whether we have some questions from the participants, because we also need to want to also go to the next presenter. Sam obviously has a few more things to share with us about building your sales resilience, but I'm also cognizant of participants' time and the presenters who have to be able to also share their tips with the participants. So are there any questions for Sam? Please let's put them in the Q&A button, which is at the bottom of your screen. As I said before, we'd like to hear from you around what can the sandbox do for you at this particular time? What can the sandbox do for you at this particular time? Let me invite Benson to start loading his slides as I look for questions from participants. I'm not seeing any questions we put in the Q&A part of the thing. So let me just keep inviting participants. Share with us, tell us on the chat, what can the sandbox do for you during this time? Benson, yes, I can see your screen is ready. Over to you, Benson. Share with us what your presentation was about in terms of branding and building your sales resilience.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. I had to go look for my voice that time. So my one-liner would be Karibuni Sana Sandbox, and thank you for giving us your time and engaging us in this webinar. Now, I will be touching on brand visibility and brand equity. Those two tend to go together. So first about myself. The goals that I would like us to achieve for today, once we are through with my short presentation, is what is brand visibility, understanding that, and also why the two are important and to pay attention to during this COVID-19 situation, and then tips on how to build on the two areas during these disruptive times. And then number 3 would be why brand visibility and brand equity impacts your bottom line. Because sales, that's the whole view. It's about bottom lines. So about Nyagu. Nyagu is a brand strategy and brand design, two worlds coming together. I happen to be from those two worlds, and I saw a need. So we specialize in the creation and actualization of brand identities and their personalities. We call this brand souls actualization. We've kind of hinged on that as our positioning. So we believe in collaborative work processes, working with experts in various fields to best position and breathe life into your brand. So we originate and develop holistic brands, align your digital space and compile campaigns for print, online channels, both online and print, to catalyze we behave as catalysts. So yeah, we're in the business of building brand souls more so the soul of it, which purely gives it the spirit to grow. So the soul actually affects your goals. It affects your unique selling points, what you do. It also affects your values, how you do what you do. So as a whole logic would go, we all know this one. A brand is not a logo, either is it a color or product. It's actually the promise which holds things together, the glue that binds everything together. So it therefore matters most how strong your glue, that thing that is putting the things together, the soul, holds together. And I will start with brand visibility. One may ask, what is brand visibility? So, what is a brand first? And then we go into understanding what the visibility is all about. So, a brand is the whole aura or the total aura associated with the product. This brand aura is what gives your company the unique elements that make you what you are. So in brand visibility, is you're bringing about your awareness. People need to know about your brand, about you, and what you stand for. And then you have to be visible, bringing your business visible, making your business visible to the masses. Then it is most important element. It's the most important element in building your brand's growth, sales, and retaining of your customers. It also helps you establish you as an authority in your field. So as you can see, working on your brand is very important, and especially at this time. So going forward, so the strategies then about this brand visibility, especially now, you see, the main thing you want, the main strategy of any brand is to always be the first one that comes to mind when someone is ready to buy. They're not always ready, but you always have to keep them engaged and aware that you're here. And that way, when they're ready, especially like now, most are not engaging in any buying. We are all on survival mode. We're hibernating. While everyone is in their cave hibernating, you should keep them engaged. So the tips here would have a consistent. This is the first thing. So mostly, some of us may have well-articulated brands, some may not. So I would say this is the time to take time to work on the areas that you feel your brand is weak in, or even building a hole or rearranging your brand into the space you wish it to be in. So the second one would be optimization, mainly on websites. So you want it optimized such that when someone is searching with the search engine systems, that you're the first they come across. Then you have to be accessible. Everyone is on a smartphone now. So you become obsolete if I can't get you on my phone. So it's important that you're mobile accessible. Then you have to, a key one, so that everyone understands what you're about and seeing your thoughts and getting to engage you. So to pull them in, you need to be in maybe having your own blog, and also being a guest in blogs that relate to your space with other websites. You will need Mary. You need PR management. Mary is a PR to-go-to expert here. So you need Mary and her people a lot to help you, especially like you're having negativity in your outputs, you can't sell. People are wondering, oh, where is this guy? So some things are going, having issues with your selling because of the situation. So the PR people would help you with that. Then you need to have targeted advertising. That could be print, or it could be on radio, it could be but you really need to be on social media. Everyone is on social media most of the time, and have targeted adverts on like Facebook. The next thing you would want is to have a virtual tour, because they can't come to you, so they would want to see what it is you do, like walk into your space virtually. Then you need to have what we call an interactive space. So your clients need to engage you, especially to give you their candid views and critiques. You really want to, I tend to dwell on the negative, because the negative builds the positive. You need to understand what is it that you're doing wrong and how best to improve on it. So the next thing I'll talk about is brand equity. We've understood what a brand is, but maybe before I go on, if you have a question on brand and brand visibility.
Okay, if you have a question, please remember to put it in the Q&A, and the panelists will be able to see it and respond to it.
Then I can respond to that.
But Nyagu, you can continue. I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A pattern, but
okay, thank you. So on brand equity, is purely, as the word says, equity is to do with value and how you're growing it. But this one is the equity you're growing in people's hearts and their minds. So it's a commercial element, but it has to do with how they are valuing you from engaging your brand and becoming, what do you say, like a cult. They follow you. Whatever you have out, they will buy. So the more you're engaging them in such a manner, the bigger your cult and your value grows. So the happier your customers are, or your consumers, with your brand experience, the greater your brand equity will be. Again, maybe comes to mind for PR, because and karaoke for the sales element, that person-to-person thing. So tips on this to build your brand equity, especially now, like I said, you need a brand awareness. You need your identity down, if you have one. You need either to polish it, depending on the challenges you're having on the ground right now, or but you really need to up your awareness. Someone before we started had asked, I think it was Maureen, she wanted to know how to improve her sales, since now they're having to do, she runs a hotel, so they're having to do deliveries. People can't sit and eat and so on. So the first thing you want to do now is to really engage these people, let them know you're open and you're running. So that's the awareness side of it. And also let them be aware you could be innovative, have new products on the ground that are answering to the needs that they may be having now. You could deliver more choma or things of the nature. The second one is to stand for something and to communicate it. So on the earlier slide, we talked about personalities of the brand, the character. So in this one, you need to really stand for what you stand for, and also engage it into the situation you're in. So you would be more caring, but caring in your position of the way you communicate. If you stand for wellness, then you would go into that. If you stand for quality, then you would push care, but quality coming through that. Third one would be to be reshaping how your consumer base feels about you. Okay. Some of us being affected by being too close to the proximity of where these holding centers are, or having transport totally taken away from you, so people can't get to you. So you would want to communicate that you're still able, of whatever it is you're giving them, or even let them be aware of new innovations that you're having. Like now we are doing a webinar. We didn't used to do this, but you become innovative and have them feeling better about you and seeing you as capable.
Okay.
The last one here, sorry?
Sorry, the last one?
The last one would be building the cult. Like I said, the bigger your cult, the bigger your bottom line. So the cult will be creating a brand culture that is then drawn out to the society so that they associate more with you. So you find a guy saying, I belong to such and such club, or I belong to such and such hotel, or I would rather wear such and such watch, and so on and so forth.
All right.
I think that is my bit.
Thank you very much, Nyagu. We're going to swiftly move to Mary. As Mary comes, let me just remind you that your Q&A, you can put them at the bottom of your screen is a Q&A button. At the top of the hour, we will be finalizing our webinar for today. A couple of you have requested that the sales presentation comes back because it was cut short. We'll organize for a session where each of the experts will now be able to speak for a longer period of time. Over the last few weeks, we've just been trying to make sure that the expert's voice can be heard on each of the Fridays. So as we go ahead, we'll be having experts speaking for longer. I can see Mary is ready. Mary, over to you.
Thank you so much, guys. And I'll just go quickly into PR. PR, mostly when you think about it, you think about perceptions. So thinking about how your brand is going to be perceived over this period is what we're going to focus on. So, oops. So about us, BrandSpark is a PR agency that has been in existence now for 10 years, and we help brands to build trust so they can increase their sales. When you think about the connection between trust and sales, you have to go through the funnel called the know, like, trust funnel. And this is where people ask you, who are you? They want to know who you are. They want to know if they like you. They want to figure out whether they can trust you if you're an expert before they actually buy. So what Sam was talking about was very important at the beginning, where right now, so many people have been affected because nobody is buying. And the opportunity for us, even as we go through this crisis, is to think about which are the different groups of people we can begin to talk to so that we can ask them, we can start relationships with them. So we help them, we take them through this process. So what is PR really? I like to define PR as one of the 5 marketing tools. And that's why today we are discussing it in context of sales, because everything in a business is supposed to help you sell. So when you think about PR, think about it as part of a marketing communication solution, which can be used alongside advertising, can be used alongside direct marketing, personal selling, and promotion. So PR is the tool that is specifically responsible for shaping perceptions and changing behavior. Now, PR, because it deals with people a lot, you have to understand where people are at. Somebody sent me this analogy today morning, and I thought it was really important for us to look at this. During this crisis period, there are people in different categories. There are those who are completely emotionally engaged with this crisis. You find that it's like part of the fire extinguishing team. This COVID is taking up all their energy and their effort. It's not really easy to sell to somebody like that. And so you need to be cognizant of which group will be able to take up your services. The person who's completely emotionally and physically engaged in the crisis will only be able to respond to, like what Sam was saying, the care. So you can call them, ask them how they're doing. I don't know whether you'd send them even the latest updates so they can see what to do. Then there's the watcher, somebody who is applauding the firefighters, praying for the victims and hoping that the fire will go off soon. And a McKinsey report says that this is a toxic combination of inaction because of the paralysis that it brings. So this is somebody who's just waiting for this to end. And they are you're sending them contracts, you're trying to explain to them how they can be effective in this place, but they're completely paralyzed. And so you need to identify how you can help them either move from their place of paralysis or, I don't know, continue praying with them. The last person who embodies Joram, I like to say this, is the 2020 person. Without underrating the intensity and the seriousness of the fire, this person starts planning ahead and getting ready for the new normal. Now, this is a category of person who would be interested in a solution that you would have. And even for you, you have to ask yourself, where am I in this? Am I so engaged in this crisis that I'm not able to be a solution to anybody? Or am I just watching, waiting for it to pass? I'm encouraging all of us to be part of the solution. That's what Sandbox is doing. Come and plug in, find out how we can start thinking ahead with you for your business. Now, when you're in the crisis, PR can help in several ways. When you don't know what's happening, the way to communicate is to use the 3F's principle. Do it fast, communicate quickly. Don't wait. For example, there are people who are looking at their books and they know that they won't have the money to be able to pay their staff at the end of the month. You need to be able to tell your staff very quickly that you don't know all the answers, you don't have the solutions, but you will be able to share as you find out. The sooner you're able to communicate about a crisis to people, the faster they're able to trust you. Then facts. Let's quote official sources anytime we are discussing a crisis. And frequently, let the communications come from a trusted source. And then how do you cascade that information? Simple messages can be conveyed simply. I loved Uhuru's speech and all the memes that came out from it the other day because nobody understood anything he said. After all that, we were all of us, asking each other, did you hear what he said? Did you understand what he said? So when you have a crisis, it's possible to use PR to simplify it and to its bare bones. And that's how people will be able to get through. Then two-way communication. Listen to the concerns of your stakeholders and integrate them into your messages. So if people are concerned about, are you saying that we're not going to go for Easter, Mr. President? Incorporate that into the speech so that they can be able to hear themselves. Then adjust the information. So let people know what they need to be doing, how they can help themselves and their organization. I love how some brands have come out and said, this is what the president's directive is, and this is our interpretation for it, and this is what we want you to be doing. So that's how you can help your brands and yourselves internally. Now, after the crisis is over, PR can still help you to build that credibility for your brand. So we can use the media to help amplify your stories so that people can understand and know who you are. Events, right now, they're also online events to allow your customers to meet and greet you and understand your unique offering. And then content development always helps to educate your customers on who you are, why they should buy your products and services. So I hope that has been a quick overview of what you can do to help you in this time to build your credibility. And for me, the most important thing was to figure out, where are you? Where is your client? And how do you help them? How do you bridge that gap? Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you very much, Mary. As Mary says, what we're also trying to figure out is really just, where is the entrepreneur? What is it that you need right now? We've been doing these webinars and we appreciate that you're coming, but we want to go beyond the webinar and engage so that we can actually be able to start providing actual tangible value to your business. So as I said before, hit us up on the chat and tell us how we can engage with you. You may also reach out to our coaches. They are on our WhatsApp number, 0701 560 203. They're standing by to chat with you and just hear about what we can do for your business, so that then we can translate a lot of the conversations we are having here into direct intervention for your business. As I said, if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A section of the system, which is at the bottom of your screen. Chat us up, tell us how you're liking the webinar. Are you learning anything new? are you going to use whatever it is that you're learning today to do something in your business and to change how it is. We've had 3 presentations today. Sales, talking to us about how we can continue to engage and connect with our customers. PR, talking to us about how we can message and how we can message and keep our customers engaged, and branding, building brand equity, and being able to have a value proposition for our customers. Mine is to now make the last presentation on our call to action. What are we inviting you to do? We are saying engage an expert. We are available for coaching, for consultations. We have webinars every Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Today's webinar is taking place on a Thursday because tomorrow is a public holiday. And we are inviting you join us next Friday, 2 to 3 p.m., where we'll be talking about health risk assessment, because you have employees, you have team members. What are the health risks that they are facing during these COVID times? And how can you begin to prepare for resumption to work? And if you are open, then how can you begin to keep engaging? And the health risks go beyond physical health risk. They are also emotional and psychological. Are you taking care of your team members? And we'll be talking about that next week. On Wednesdays, we have strategy webinars by Wild International, who's a strategy partner at the Sandbox. These webinars happen Wednesdays, 9 to 10 a.m. And they really look at about the strategic response during this particular period. We also have YouTube videos and Facebook videos on our social media. Please follow us, facebook.com/sandboxk.ke, and you'll find several tips and articles that we have written. Write us an email, karibu@sandbox.ke. And as I said before, you can engage with our coaches on WhatsApp. They're available, or you can call them or call us up. We are on 0701 560 203, 0701 560 203. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate that you joined us for this webinar today. We have come to the top of our hour. I'm going to look into the system and see whether there are any comments. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions and answers. We are going to continue on until 10 minutes past 3. And because there are no questions and answers, I'm going to invite the sales expert, Sam Karaoke of Growth Partners, to share with us the last 2 tips. I can see some people have chatted saying thank you very much. They were informed. Please, as you leave and as you exit the webinar room, there's our feedback form. We'd like to know how to improve these webinars. So please give us feedback on the feedback form so that we can be able to improve these webinars. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to invite Sam to come back. Sam, if you can share your screen so that we give you an opportunity to just finish the last 2 tips. For those of you who had a hard stop at 3 p.m., thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you next Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. or on Wednesday, 9 to 10 a.m. Also, if you hang around our social media pages, you shall see more engagements that we shall be doing to keep our entrepreneurs knowledgeable and to keep our businesses going. Sam, I can see your screen is back on. Thank you very much. Sam, you may continue.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Nyago, for great presentations. And I'll make this brief. So I talked about response being on the customers that we have. That's what I talked about. And now it's the response we need to have based around our pipeline. The pipeline is the core of every business when it comes to sales. That is the potential, where the potential business will come from. And this is usually heavily for people who are in B2B settings, those who are in FMCG or a consumer business. Pipeline might not be very applicable in many cases. But for B2B, you need, if you work with a pipeline, if you work, if you are not in B2B, you are in a consumer business, you may call pipeline, where are my opportunities? You need to have a good look at those, at your pipeline, look at each opportunity, and then for each opportunity that you have had, or you had prior to the crisis, you need to evaluate where they are. Some have stalled, some are lost, but others may just require you to keep remaining in touch with that prospect and nurturing it and remaining in touch. Because one of the things that you don't want to do is to be forgotten, or you don't want even your prospect to forget that this is something that you are having a conversation with, about. So you want to pick each of the opportunities that you are working on or you have been working on and see what it is that you can do for each of those opportunities. Some you remain in touch with, others you can even progress forward, others you might scale or redesign the proposition that you are making to them. But at this point, one of the things that I would want to challenge everyone who is in business and who is in sales is to consistently prospect. Always be prospecting. Even right now, look out for those opportunities. Some, most of them, you may not need even to talk to them right away, but look at those opportunities and they will be up there for you to engage with. So be prospecting, go online, look where your customers are, look out for who are your potential customers even in the future, and create a list of those prospects. They may not enter into your pipeline right away, but you can engage them. You can engage them. You can even look at those opportunities and see how you can engage them without outrightly talking about your proposition. And if you have built that rapport with them at this point, you will be able to do business with them. So keep in touch, nurture, don't be forgotten. The other response I talk about is around your team. If you're in charge of, if you have a sales team, you would want to think around them. And you would want to ask how you can get the most out of them. For many people, when it comes to sales, they think even when before COVID, I wanted to fire all of them. So what do I do with them now that things are not looking good? You need to evaluate. Again, go look at each individual of your salespeople and ask, what is it that I can do to get the most out of this particular salesperson or a sales manager or an area manager? What is it you can do? You'd want to have a conversation with them. It can be costly to have salespeople who are idle and who are not producing, and have a conversation with them and ask each of them, how can we sustain you? And sustaining you, we want to be human. We don't want to be firing people just like for no good reason, or rather for without giving them a chance. We'd want to have a conversation with each person and ask, how can I sustain you? Given your retainer, given your pay, and I want to keep you. And ask them, is there something that you can do that can help us to sustain you? And that can be, they can even think of how they can generate the little they can be able to, even to keep them in business. The other question you can ask around your team is, what support can you give to your people at this time? Of course, is there certain guidance they require? Are there certain skills? For example, you may want them to engage customers on phone, on email, or on web. Do they have those skills? You may want to develop and help them improve those skills such that if they write an email, it's an email that will have an impact. If it's a call they make, it's a call that will have an impact. And then, of course, if you're a business owner or sales manager, you would want to inspire your team. One of the things that you don't want them to do is to be pessimistic. And there's a lot of pessimistic news and that we are engaging with. For us as leaders, we need to inspire our people so that they may be they may be remain optimistic, even to know that this is will come to an end at some point. Chris, I have more time.
No, Sam, your time is up. I just want you to give one example, a few examples on how we can invest on customer emotions. How can we invest on customer emotions?
Yes, the first thing, and this should be natural for all of us, is giving them a call just to know how they are doing. Person, if it's a person, or as a business, that is to show that you care. That is important. The other thing that you can do is look out for what it is that is of value to them, either as individuals or for their businesses. You could invite them to webinars like this and tell them, I think there's something that can be of value to you. Go to Sandbox, they have a great webinar. That is something that is of value to them. But there are many other things that you could recommend to them that can be of value to them. But the other thing that you could do, thinking just right away, is look out for opportunities that you can ask them to look out for, probably for their business. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to stop the webinar at the top of the hour. For now, let me take this opportunity to thank you again for joining us. The webinar is going to be available on our Facebook page as a recorded webinar. That's on SNDBX.ke, SNDBX.ke. To all our participants, we're asking you to please fill in our feedback so that we can be able to get to know how to improve the webinars going forward. As I said, we have these webinars every Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. and on Wednesdays, 9 to 10 a.m. for the strategy webinars. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me invite the panelists to give again one-line closing remarks. I'll start off with Nyagu. Are you ready to give your one-line closing remark?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, everyone, for engaging us and giving us your time. As it is, it's an hour that everyone wants to be catching up on business, especially now. So you're welcome to engage us, give queries on what we presented or any challenges that you're facing, and we can share ideas and solutions on how to resolve those. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nyagu. Let me invite Mary to give us her closing remarks. Mary.
Okay, thanks guys again for listening. I think my one take home point is remember that people want to connect at this point. So please find out where they are and then connect with them at that point, because that's how you're going to be able to make your sale. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you very much, Mary. Sam?
For me is to say this will surely come to an end. So let's remain optimistic and let us work like it will come to an end tomorrow. So yeah, let's remain optimistic.
All right, thank you very much. And from on behalf of the Sandbox, my name is Chris Odongo. Thank you very much. We are glad you could join us. As we said, a business coach is on standby on WhatsApp. You can reach out to us and talk to us, or you can engage with us and we'll be able to connect you to a consultant or a coach. Thank you very much for coming. Do have a lovely afternoon.